You know that feeling, right? You're in a brand new country, you've got a phrasebook, and you're desperately flipping through it trying to find a sentence you'll probably never need again. But what if there was a smarter way? What if instead of memorizing rigid phrases, you could learn just a few key patterns? Think of them like Lego bricks that let you build almost any sentence you need right on the spot. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today.
And this really gets to the heart of the matter. Instead of memorizing 100 different phrases, you just master a few core structures. Then you can just slot in new words as you learn them. It's kind of like the difference between being given a fish and learning how to fish. For a traveler, this approach is an absolute game changer.
So here's our game plan. We're going to build up our skills in 3 really logical steps. First, we'll get you comfortable with just getting around. Then, we'll move on to communicating your essential needs and wants. And finally, we'll get into the good stuff, how to have polite, respectful conversations that can make your entire trip so much better. Okay, let's dive right in. First things first, you've just landed, you're in a new city, and you need to figure out where you're going. These first few patterns are your absolute lifeline for navigating the world around you. All right, get ready to meet your new best friend. Seriously, this is probably the single most important pattern for getting around. To ask, how do I get to? All you do is say the name of the place first, and then you add this phrase, 怎么走? That last word, 走, is super flexible. In this context, it just means to go or to get to. Let's see how it works. So, let's say you need to find the metro. You just say, 地铁站怎么走? See? So simple. But here's a fantastic pro tip to sound way more natural and polite. Always start with a quick 你好, or even better, 请问, which means, excuse me, may I ask? It's such a small thing, but trust me, it makes a world of difference. Okay, this is a really cool little detail that'll make you sound much more advanced. There are actually 2 ways to ask where. You use 哪儿有 when you're looking for any old version of something, like asking, hey, is there a bus station somewhere around here? But you use 在哪里 when you're looking for the specific place you know is nearby, like where is the pharmacy in this mall? So you might wander down a street and ask someone, 哪儿有公共汽车站? Just hoping to find any bus stop at all. But if you're inside a huge department store and you know there's a pharmacy in there somewhere, you'd ask, 药店在哪里? To find that specific one. And of course, there's the all-important question, 洗手间在哪里? You'll definitely want to remember that one. And here is a piece of advice that will save you so much time and stress. Seriously, forget trying to learn complicated phrases to explain directions to a taxi driver. Just download the Didi app. It's the Chinese version of Uber, it has an English interface, and it is an absolute lifesaver. You just type in your destination, and you're good to go. All right, so you can find your way around. Check. What's next? Well, you need to be able to ask for what you actually need. This next set of patterns is all about getting the essentials, whether that's a ticket, some food, or a place to sleep. Okay, this next pattern is your go-to for anything urgent. It's simple, it's direct, and it is incredibly useful. The phrase is 我需要, which just means I need. You say that, and then you tack on whatever it is you need right after it. Let me show you just how handy this is. For instance, 我需要买电话卡. I need to buy a phone card. Or, and this is probably the single most important phrase for any modern traveler, 我需要充电. I need to charge my phone. Because, let's be real, your phone is everything. It's your map, your translator, your lifeline. And if things get really tricky, a simple 我需要帮助 means I need help. So, 我需要 is for things that are pretty critical. But what if you just want to express something you'd like to do? For that, you use a slightly softer phrase, 我想. This means I would like to or I want to. And it's just perfect for stating your intentions in a more casual way.
So you can walk up to the ticket counter at the train station and say, 我想买票. I'd like to buy a ticket. When you start getting hungry, you can tell your friends, 我想吃饭. I'd like to eat. And when you get to the hotel, 我想订房间. I'd like to book a room. See how useful that is? All right, you absolutely cannot go shopping without this one. It's essential. To ask how much is this, you just point to something right near you and say, 这个多少钱? If something's a little further away, you just swap it for 那个多少钱? This is your golden ticket for any shop or market for sure.
Okay, this is where we level up. This is where we go from just surviving to actually connecting with people. Being able to move from just stating what you want to asking polite questions, well, that can completely transform your entire travel experience. These final patterns are all about mastering that respectful interaction. So, how do you politely ask a shopkeeper or a restaurant if they have something you're looking for?
It's actually surprisingly easy. You start with 你们有, which basically means, do you guys have? Then you add the item, and you finish it all off with a tiny little magic particle, ma.
And this is the key. This little particle, ma, is amazing. It doesn't really have a meaning on its own. You just add it to the end of a statement and poof, it magically turns it into a yes or no question. You're going to see it pop up a few more times.
Okay, just imagine this. Your phone is at 1%, you're totally lost. You duck into a little shop and you ask, 你们有充电线吗? Do you have a charging cable? See how powerful that is? Or the other modern classic. The moment you sit down at a cafe, you ask, 你们有 Wi-Fi吗?
Now, when you're not totally sure about the local rules or customs, this next pattern is your safety net. To politely ask, can I or may I, you use the phrase, 我可以吗? It shows respect, and it can definitely save you from some awkward moments. And just look at how versatile this one pattern is. If you're in a beautiful temple, you might ask, 我可以拍照呢? May I take a picture? In a modern restaurant, you can ask, 我可以扫码点餐呢? Can I scan the code to order? And if you hit it off with a new friend, it's super common to ask, 我可以加你微信吗? Can I add you on WeChat? You know, sometimes you just need a little help from a stranger. This next pattern is the perfect, polite way to ask for a small favor. It starts with, can you help me? And the keywords to remember are 帮我, which literally means help me. So if you want someone to take your picture, you can just ask a passerby, 你可以帮我拍照吗? Need a good recommendation from your hotel concierge? 你可以帮我推荐一个导游吗? You can see how this one pattern just empowers you in so many different situations. All right, and for our final pattern, let's look at the most direct but still polite way to ask for something. The phrase is 请给我, which just means please give me. It's clear, it's efficient, and you will find yourself using this one all the time. When you're checking out at a store, you can say 请给我一个袋子. Please give me a bag. At a restaurant, 请给我一杯水, a glass of water. And hey, if you're really hungry, you can even ask for 请给我加饭, more rice. And of course, following any of these with a simple 谢谢 is always the right move. So there you have it. This isn't just a list of phrases to memorize and then forget. It's a flexible toolkit of patterns that gives you the power to actually communicate. It is a much smarter way to learn, and honestly, a much better way to travel. So now that you have the tools, there's only one question left. What's the first thing you'll say?